little bit about some of the news reporting that have occurred. Anya mentioned it earlier on that there has been some news reports that have been out, and this has been in the media for quite a while. Pat and Gail are actually going to talk through some of the cases, and we're going to challenge a little bit some of the ways some of what we see is represented, but also celebrate some of what we have seen represented in terms of how the media has represented language, balance, accuracy, context, just structure and everything. And then I leave it to Gail and Pat to talk a little bit about how you as persons in the media can research, review, find and share some of those stories.
We recognize that the media has some limitations in terms of you are challenged to compete, you are challenged to get the eyes and the ears of the public focused on what it is you're producing.
Morning again, my name is Jerome Reynolds. I'm from the Gleaner, Power 106 News Center. That's really the arm of the Gleaner. And I'm just here to enlighten myself and better sensitize myself.
And things are Caribbean things. If you are different, you are to be labeled and put aside. And we need to challenge that, and we need to change that ethos as we go from basic school right up.
It's up to us to also create that context, to bring the background information, to say, listen, this is the rate of teenage pregnancy, this is the rate of HIV infection among this population, these are the things that are happening, these are some interventions, and so on. So don't just report the one talking head, say somebody says this just for the sake of saying it, right? But let's just work on giving it some context.
Why did we choose to do this? Because we have anecdotal data that says MSM and sex workers have frequently been a target of stigma from healthcare workers in the international literature and also reported cases in Jamaica. But again, it's not something that we talk about a lot. We know it exists, we don't talk about it. Stigma and discrimination, of course, has direct impact on access, utilization, and the quality of care for those in need. Because if you're going to go to a health facility and be treated badly, you're just not going to go.
I will just leave you with why we need to focus on human rights. In Jonathan Mann, who was one of the founders of the system-wide, the UN system-wide response to HIV/AIDS, said very early, in each society, these people who before HIV/AIDS arrived were marginalized, stigmatized, and discriminated against, become those at highest risk of HIV infection. The French have a simple term which they say, which says it all. HIV is now becoming a problem mainly for les exclus, the excluded ones, living at the margins of society. More repression will only favor, not them, but the epidemic. That's my presentation.
Since 2009, we've had 160 incidents. In 2011 alone, there were 84. What we found was that largely young people ages 18 to 29 bore the brunt of this discrimination.
A misrepresentation of the voice of sex workers. So you do an interview with a sex worker on a particular issue and then you edit it, and the finished product doesn't represent what the sex worker was actually saying, and so it becomes a misrepresentation.
We went through all of this, all the stories, all of what you've seen, just for you to understand that these are things that make people afraid to get the help they need. There are other issues. If you look at some of the reports that come on, some of the studies that have been done among the particular group, the sex workers, you will know that it is when you talk to them, they will tell you the type of people who come to them to buy sex. And these are your husbands, these are your wives, because women also go out and do it. And you are putting yourself at risk because you're saying to yourself, well, he's faithful, I don't have to use a condom. So look at it, look at what is happening in your own home, what can happen within your own little space.
In-house time and personnel, lack of connection with members of CBC, lack of connection with members of CBC.
Lack of connection, so the same thing, I think you can sort of about networking, not having enough contacts, lack of connection with the members of the relevant groups, A lot of people put those things down in terms of that.
General ignorance about the issues affecting CBCs.
So I think what we can sum it up with in terms of some of the challenges we face in our newsroom. We talked about not having enough resources, not having enough time, not having enough human resources, unavailability of staff and so on. There is something about inside the newsroom, there is something about apathy and lack of support from editors that was mentioned here too. Lack of networking with the groups, lack of connections, unavailability of these groups, that's something that keeps coming up.
I'm a journalist, and as you mentioned, in terms of when it comes to stats and so forth, and just speaking what is generally happening, you know, I have no issues with that. But when you see a case whereby you are being made to seem as if you're going to be taking a point, and you know, you have to go with this group or go with that group, that's where I have an issue, you know, in terms of the sense that there's a kind of agenda, you know, give me the facts, you know, I report it because it's facts and that's my job. But I also have a personal view as well, and I have to take that into account as well, you know, so you have to be mindful of that.
The media's role really is to present everything. Yes, you have a role as media to make sure that voices that aren't normally heard are heard and all of that. But it's not that we're going to take on this voice ourselves. That's really not our role. We're here to make sure that these voices are heard, that the information is put out, that when a story is put out, all the information is there.
Cases of HIV and AIDS remains prevalent among sex workers in Jamaica. According to preliminary data from the Ministry of Health, 5% of sex workers in Jamaica are living with HIV. Some sex workers are of the view that access to healthcare and preventative methods remains a challenge.
So you use the oral testimonies, you use the resource persons you have here, you cited the information that was provided by presenters, so that was very good in terms of providing balance and providing a wide range. Some people just won't say this is an agenda from CBC, but they can say that the stats from the Ministry of Health bear it out and the work that PANOS has done also.
The HIV prevalence on the decline in the major affected groups. It appears that the fight to reduce the prevalence of the human immunodeficiency HIV virus among the main target groups is bearing fruit. According to the latest preliminary data provided by the Northeast Regional Health Authority,
I appreciated the fact that it wasn't a gloom and doom story.
Research, after research, review, so go and check with the people. So check back with Patricia. Patricia, is this really what this means? Is it really, can I really draw this inference or this conclusion from this? Is it really what it means? And then your write or your report. So make sure you do your research, you review with all the sources, you try to get balance, you try to get as much context as possible, and then you report. And not only with this, but generally with everything else, everything we're reporting on. That's always an effective approach to take.